Very good.
Muss los? Dürfte gar nicht lernen.
I have it on camera. Best, of course, best beginning. This is how we're gonna start the podcast. Start like this from the beginning.
Wow, so we already started.
Yeah, we started. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Peacocks, they are super happy that we have nice weather.
Yeah, that was the condition. Remember when you asked me, I said there's one condition. I don't want to do it in the cold.
So I had to wait 2 weeks because this is how unpredictable weather is here. But we have Aaradhakananda with us, the sound Maharaj of the Kirtan, another former guest, Vrshakapi, hiding.
So and people around.
Yeah. And
actually Guruji might leave at any moment.
Wow, this would be amazing to catch Guruji, huh?
Yeah,
another guest here, I don't know.
The filmmakers are there.
A future guest, maybe. What do you say, bro? Wow, that maybe gives me hope. I would love to have everybody. So I'm super happy you accepted the invitation.
I'm happy to be here.
And I'm sure people heard parts of your story during satsangs, but it would be super nice to have the full story back to back.
We don't need to run.
Oh, we take it easy. Chill.
You're running like a German in Berlin.
Yeah, bro. This is
Frankfurt.
the rhythm, bro. When you enter in the rhythm of the ashram, at one point you start running and you never stop.
People don't believe, but the ashram can be hectic because we just have a vision of so much deliverance, to deliver so much, but
they think everybody's in meditation, floating around,
sitting on the floor doing japa. The japa.
Everybody's doing japa and in a calm and peaceful state of mind. But what they don't see is the amount of work and seva going on, and how busy the schedule is. That's why I'm grateful we could do this now. Look, Anantajita. Another guest. Yeah. So all the people that you've seen so far on the channel.
It's like a resume.
Yeah, it's a resume. The timeline. Yeah, super nice. Tell us your story, bro, from the beginning. I'm super curious to how it all began, your spiritual path. This is why we call
how
it Walk the
Talk.
Talk.
All began, you mean before Guruji?
Before Guruji. What was your life before and what changed after you met him?
Okay. You interrupt me and you make it.
Oh, it's a conversation, bro.
Good. I mean, we started. I come from a family which is a sort of spiritual family, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they're all devotees, hardcore devotees of Guruji.
Oh, so nice.
My mom and my sister are brahmacharinis.
Really?
Yeah, but they all initiated devotees, they are doing seva. But back then, they had their sort of alternative views on spirituality, not necessarily practicing, but they are very open-minded and not traditional Christian or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they are musicians. My parents, they are orchestra musicians. They used to work for the two orchestras of the state where I used to live in Brazil, in Bahia. So there is the state from the theater, funded by the state, the orchestra from the theater, and the orchestra from the university, which is also those who play there. They're like employees of the of the university. So they used to work for both orchestras and be full-time musicians. And because of their work in the university, I could
go to rehearsals.
Go to rehearsals, or grew up in the rehearsals, and visit for free many music courses. In the university, also because the university has the official students and there are the extra classes offered to the community where you can make like normal classes and,
so nice.
And pay in the afternoon to come and for your kids and stuff. The students teach. So I was always, my whole life, visiting, knowing everybody. I was always growing up with this, in that kind of environment. So when I was 7 years old, I was given a violin, and then I told my mom I don't want to play violin. I want to play football.
Because Brazil.
And then they said, no problem. Sold the violin. When I was 11, there was a piano at home. I was playing with the piano. Then when I was 11, I got a guitar. And then I learned, my dad teach me the beginning. He's a double bass player, but he also plays guitar. My mom plays bassoon, which is like the bass of the clarinet and oboe. You know? So my dad taught me a little bit. I started composing some songs. The first songs I played on the guitar, they were own songs. My first musical composition, in that sense, was a pop rock song dedicated to a spaceship, to a UFO, that I named Pitfall.
Do you still have it?
I mean, I have it in my mind. It's in Portuguese.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear it one day, bro. This is like, wow.
Yeah, I was literally singing to the aliens. So it was my first song.
Bro, why not? I've been there also.
I was 11, 12. And then I started to have guitar lessons. And then when I was 13, 14, I knew already, actually, that's my thing. I'm going to be a musician, play guitar, that's my life. So even I was finishing school and everything, I had a clear focus. There was a time in between when I went a bit hard into metal and things.
I was there, yeah.
I used some substances and lost focus for a while. But still, I played so much with the band that technically I was there, you know? So I never, yeah. So basically, I did a lot of music my whole life, a lot of music. And I always took lessons until I ended up in the music university in Brazil. So I'm talking about the musical thing, not the university thing, because they all joined together. I remember when I was very young, I told my mom, I want to be either a monk or a musician.
Clear.
Yeah.
It was clear from the beginning. And you ended up both.
And good, you made me both.
The blessing, bro. So nice.
So I ended up in the university in Brazil. But there was no jazz in the Brazilian university. I wanted to study not classical music, popular jazz music, because I saw my parents in the classical world, and for me that was an island of academy and intellect and dumb intellectuality in the cooking pot of amazing culture in Brazil. So I don't want to study something which is disconnected to the culture.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So
you're next, bro.
And then I wanted to study popular music and jazz, but in my city there was not a good course for that, and my guitar teacher recommended me to leave Brazil. Through my university in Brazil, I got connections to the university in Germany, and then things like God wanted, clearly. So I ended up studying jazz guitar in Germany and finishing my course. And in the middle...
All the countries, bro.
Yeah, you know, the Afghan war was happening, and I had two choices, Germany or USA. I mean, USA was not like a clear option, but there were the two places you would go to start jazz back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the Scandinavian countries also have a lot of good universities. But if you are studying jazz, first option to New York.
Of course.
Or you go to Europe, mainly nowadays is Netherlands and Germany. Or you go to the Scandinavian, because they have Switzerland also, because they fund amazing universities with amazing teachers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not, but do you think people in Germany are jazz listeners, or it doesn't seem like a country that has a lot of...
Oh yes, there is. Germany, I mean, of course I've been disconnected from the scene in the last 10 years. Sometimes I like to look what happened to my teachers and to my colleagues. And like one colleague of mine who was a jazz drummer in the university, he was now a music producer, a co-music producer in Taylor Swift's album. And some others already a professor. I would probably have end up like this also, not Guruji, like this. Some others totally failed, because musicians in the university is like this, 80% will fail.
Why do you think is that?
It's because art is like this, you know. Either you totally surrender or it doesn't work, and then you go teach and be frustrated. But
so it's similar to acting somehow, yeah.
Very similar for sure. And the question about Germany, of course, jazz and classical music is a, how to say, niche. You know, it's like there's a specific scene, but everything that's cultural in Germany, at least still, people say the country is going down, there is a big support.
Okay.
So there's a strong jazz scene, there's a lot of festivals, a lot of universities. The music learning, the music education is still very strong here. So, you know.
Nice.
And of course, German is, don't forget, is still under America
Influence.
Besatzzone. Yeah, literally is still an occupied country from the Second World War. And Germany and Japan, they are still occupied.
Yeah.
So the American culture is like
infused
into everything here. And there's a lot of American teachers in jazz universities.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. So there's a there's a bridge, there's a link in between. So that's for the music side. And then
on the spiritual side?
On the spiritual side, what happened? My father was more Catholic, big devotee of Saint Anthony. My father's shy, silent guy, and he was practicing. More internally, he would do some charity even outside that I only got to know 20 years later. You know, even though we're close to the family, we will not hear about it. My mom, very open to yoga and all sort of Eastern stuff. They end up doing something called spiritism in Brazil. That's
a trend. I studied that.
So in Brazil is the biggest country for spiritism, Allan Kardec doctrines. And I grew up going to spiritist centers, seeing mediums receive spirits and talk to them and see their change and see that's a lot of real stuff going on in that. Even inside of my own house.
So there is a base for that. It's not people in their imagination. It's real stuff.
I got to know many people who were sensitive and saw stuff, or at least had experiences. And so by that, naturally, the whole little knowledge of Bhagavad Gita here in the house, you know, a lot of Asian stuff, spiritism, and the Christian doctrine coming lightly, together with some sort of agnosticism also. Everything was kind of mixed because they didn't practice fully anything, you know. Spiritism was what they practiced the most, my parents.
Okay.
Because it's like a science, a practical science, you know, you see things happening. It's not only kneel down and pray. All of that together gave a base of something like reincarnation, we know is real. And because reincarnation is real, because the soul travels from one realm to another, you could probably understand that God might be also real. You know? It will be it's kind of a conclusion that if it's so obvious, it's clear, it's kind of proven to my eyes that that people when they die, they don't go to nothingness. They might stay here or they might go to another place, but can still communicate, and they reincarnate, and life continues throughout this mortal body. So it's probably pretty true that God exists.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So things started like this, and I always had a spiritual connection inside of me, like I tried to talk to God through nature. I remember me on the window of my room talking to God, saying, God, give me a sign, and like in the form of the wind. And I was expecting that the wind to blow strong on me, and I was trying to talk to. And I was trying to create my own like theology concepts. I remember in my school, 6th and 7th degree, I would make like cosmologic drawings, like how the universe to be like Mother Nature, God, and creation. And
so you were always searching, basically.
Yeah, deeply.
Wow.
Deeply. Even when I went into metal and used to carry like a upside down cross on my chest and sing satanic songs, I was also in a deep search.
What kind of music were you in that? Black metal, death?
I mean, what I did the most was thrash metal, like San Francisco Bay thrash metal, but I also played in a black metal band and in heavy metal, traditional heavy metal band.
I was into gothic and doom.
I used to listen. There's a band called Morbid Angel.
Yeah, of course.
No, Morbid Angel is death metal, I'm sorry. My Dying Bride was a good...
My Dying Bride, Lacrimosa, Lake of Tears.
Lacrimosa was already too soft for me.
Yeah.
But it was
Cradle of Filth. What do you want? That
Cradle of Filth. That's black magic.
Chuck Schuldiner, bro.
Oh my God.
You cannot.
It's
But
perfect music for you
amazing.
to kill yourself.
Yeah, but at one point I was going into that gothic music also because of the poetry. There were a lot of there were people searching, and I used to hang with this type of people because they were the only ones who were posing deeper questions and meaningful questions.
And you are.
They were searching for something at least, and we had like really deep conversations. Yeah. So even the music was not the best choice, but at the company of the people, for me at least in Romania, it was an opportunity to grow also on other levels, you know.
Interesting.
There's philosophy there. Most of the people that were there were philosophy students, you know. Yes. So the conversations were of a higher level. But nice, I would imagine you. I think I saw something on YouTube with you, but that was jazz, I think. There is something on YouTube with you, but you were super proficient. I mean, you were.
That was really my job. No, I finished my.
Really good at guitar.
I literally was playing with my professor. They were calling me for gigs and stuff.
Amazing.
I could have become something that. In fact, when I came to Guruji, I was professionally playing. I was teaching 5 days a week, 4 days a week. I was teaching. I had over 40 guitar students. And like at least 2 days a week, I would have usual concerts. And then I had to balance it with the events in Bhakti Marga. And once I was telling Guruji, I'm not coming tomorrow for whatever Janmashtami, because I have to play like in a wedding of some rich people in a castle somewhere on the other side of Germany. And then he's like, oh, nice. How much you are making for this concert? And I was like, that much. And he's, oh, and did they pay the amount of practice you did? I said, no. I say, okay, Guruji's like, let's say, your working time is like 15 euros, and then so you practice that many hours. So that's how much you. She was like, put everything down to paper and said, how many are you gonna drive? Are they paying the cost? I said, yeah, but not fully. But the payment's good. And then he make his own calculation and say, look, by my calculations, you are losing like 100 euros. You should next time never play for less than that.
Man, boom.
Guruji told me.
It's your first agent, basically.
Yeah, and then I did this like for 1-2 years more until I became a monk, and I actually worked less and made more money.
Amazing. Amazing. That's super nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's backtrack a little bit. This is super good.
Yeah, we are jumping a bit the timeline.
But it's nice because it's good. It's exercise for the mind. And you were doing your own cosmology. You were always searching. Your parents were into spiritism.
Yes.
And then what happened? How?
And then I had this auntie, she was very deep into spirituality, like much deeper than my parents back then. And she used to practice, she still practices 2 doctrines. One is a Japanese new religion called Seicho no Ye, which is she's one of the people in Brazil responsible for bringing this doctrine to Brazil, actually.
Okay.
So Seicho no Ye, plus she was always a follower for Yogananda. So she gave me the book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, and
classic.
That I touched this book. I look at the cover. I didn't even read it. Look, our peacock was suffering here by being murdered by some animal here. We see rests of peacocks in the forest.
Maybe we have the rest somewhere around here. Should be the rest of the peacock.
Gotta give him a burial somewhere. What happened?
And you touched the book?
She gave me the book. I just saw the cover and I started to cry. And I knew this guy was my spiritual teacher, was my guru.
Oh, wow.
And then it was the first time. Look, I read some spiritual books before and it was already a very interesting, very special experience. I loved to read spiritual books. And I had lost already by then. I was 14, 15. I lost the interest in reading stuff which is not spiritual. It was a waste of time for me to read just romance or something. But when I read The Autobiography of a Yogi, it was really like, for the first time, I can feel love flowing through the pages.
So nice.
Like, I could not stop. That was, it's difficult to describe what a magic experience was it, reading like each page of this book. I only had something similar in certain parts of the Srimad Bhagavatam later. After Guruji's initiation, after studying the Bhagavatam, and there were some moments reading the Bhagavatam where something happens inside of you, like something is just transforming. Once Guruji told me, when he's giving katha on Bhagavat, on Gita, things like this, that 7 yagnas are happening inside of our body. So that's, when he told me, I kind of connected the feeling from reading those books back then. It was like, there's a fire, but you can call it purification, but purification we connect to something that's eventually painful. That was just blissful.
Yeah.
You know, it's just really just love.
The warmth and the light of the yagna.
But funny enough, I had this experience with the book, but I was committed to my metal. Yeah. It was not that easy because literally my whole social life.
Yeah, it was around that.
Look, I only drank alcohol between 14 I think, and 17. When I was 17,
before even being 18,
before being able to do it, allowed to do it,
you reached your peak.
And then I said, I'm doing yoga now, and I'm meditating, and it's not good for me. I'm gonna stop. And then I became vegetarian at 16. I stopped drinking with 17. But
because why not?
Because of the experience in meditation.
So you were practicing meditation?
Yeah, because I was touching the teachings from Yogananda or whatever I was listening.
When did you read the book? At what age?
So I touched the book and I pre-read the book with 14, but at 15 then I jumped back deep into it. And then it was all the experience I had.
Wow.
And I was living this double life, you know, because, I don't know how far people can understand it, but when you are like in a country like Brazil, the metal scene is a very strong thing. It's I don't want to say it's a cult, but it's like, imagine you are...
It's like football in other...
Yeah, it's like you are like...
It's like almost a religion, basically.
You are in the core of a football fan base, the core. You are like one of the main guys. And you leave for the other football team. What would happen to you? They would kill you.
Yeah,
and it's pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
Like many of my metal friends, they just don't talk to me anymore. Since I left.
It's treason. It's treason. Yeah, basically you betrayed the tribe.
I totally betrayed it, yeah. I totally betrayed it.
Shame on you.
I betrayed the movement.
You betrayed
I'm sorry, everybody, but it's much better now. I would suggest to do the same.
At least give it a try, you know?
At least
read the book.
Yeah.
That book is truly special. I heard so many people.
Incredible.
That book opened the gate for so many people.
It's incredible.
When I was reading it, I always thought, I wish I would meet a master like him, you know?
Do you know where you're walking to?
Yeah. It's a well-known... you're going to find the new Japa walk trail. That's good.
Yeah, this book, I had, of course, the same feeling. Like, first I took Yogananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda in my heart as a guru when I was reading the book. Wow. But I always had this imagination, like, is it possible to live this nowadays? And in my mind, it was totally not possible. Yeah, until the moment I met some Vishwananda, I was already living in Germany, studying, married. For me, I was like, I would love to one day have a guru physically and live what is described in the book, but I don't believe it's actually
They don't
possible.
exist, yeah.
It doesn't really
Either
exist
they are somewhere in the mountains and they are not accessible anymore, or that age of gurus, living gurus has ended, and that's it, we have to accept it.
Nowadays, I have been through experience with Guruji, which are partially even more incredible than things that you're going to describe in that book. And we can write hundreds of books on SWAMI Vishwananda, which I'm literally living that, what I thought it was totally impossible. And it is so mind-blowing. It's so mind-blowing.
So for people, I think it's a good start if people haven't made any steps on the spiritual path. It's a really good book to open a little bit the mind and the heart and give it a try.
And then right after, take Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. And listen to Guruji's satsangs.
So, and then at certain point when I was 16, I said, okay, I'm going to start going to the Yogananda Center in my city. City is big, 3 million people, so we have everything there. He's going to have his conference in the university, in the music university later on. So I start going to the center there because I was already a musician. So very quickly they already they lent me a harmonium and a tabla to bring home to practice. So I was 16, I was already actually practicing harmonium and very basic of tabla, no? Like and tintal, that was it.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than mridanga.
It's very different. I mean,
it's the same beats probably at some, or
it's
because you use
like the spine is the same.
the spine is.
But how the body develops is totally different.
Oh, okay.
So if you know the core, like you can, if you are good in one Indian drum, it's not hard to translate into the beats of the other drum. But how you produce the sound is very different.
But
and
I
the
think
beats are also partially different.
Mridanga, it's a little bit easier, I think, as a learning curve.
To start.
Tabla, I think, is next level.
I would say Mridanga is like guitar, tabla is like a trumpet. If you're a musician, you're going to understand, because
Okay.
Mridanga, you take a little bit of effort, you can produce a sound already, which is acceptable.
Yeah.
Just like a guitar. But in the tabla, you need actually some years until you have a sound which is good. You can play something the first year, but actually to have a good sound of tabla, you need many years.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to educate your muscles in a way, you know, so you can learn to hit the tabla in a specific way to get that frequency, that harmonic sounding.
Yeah, you listen to Zakir Hussain and you say, oh, this is easy.
No.
He's an alien.
He's an alien.
He's an alien.
He's a total alien.
So you started practicing...
And I was going to this meditation center every Saturday, and I became kind of the main musician there for some time when I was there. And I became part of that
community.
Sangha, of that community. My day was, they did service 4 times a week, but I usually go every Saturday because I have studies and other stuff. Saturday is the long 3 hours meditation with the little bit of kirtan. So the music and the meditation. And I remember once there was a monk from America that came to the center, and he saw me sitting on the floor like in Padmasana. I was doing a bunch of. I always did martial arts, and then in some yoga. No? Always did martial arts.
What martial arts?
I started with capoeira, Brazilian one, when I was a kid.
Capoeira, bro.
And then I stopped for a while. Then I went into full contact kickboxing, and then I did Aikido, and then I stayed doing yoga for a longer time.
You touched upon, is it any...
But what I meant, the monk saw me like sitting in Padmasana on the floor and trying to play tabla, and he looked at me, oh, you have to move to the ashram. Like in America, to their center. No? And I was like, that's something like light inside of me when he said that. Like, oh, that would be very nice to live a life like that. But still, I didn't take him too serious, which was somehow good.
We thank you for not taking him serious. Very good. And that sparked something inside of you?
Yeah, but so I literally became a hardcore Yogananda devotee, doing the kriyas, doing the practices, learning the songs, the bhajans. And then I moved to Germany. The first thing I did, was apart from connecting with the musical people, at the same time I connected with all the Yogananda Sanghas here also. So I went to the long meditation from the Christmas meditation, the 6 hours meditation that they do every 8 hours or 6 hours, I don't remember. In Nuremberg, they have a little ashram in Nuremberg. And then the Yogananda meetings like in Mannheim and in Saarland. And same thing, when I came to Germany, that Sangha gave me one harmonium, said, here you a harmonium for you to practice. It always happened like, look, God really said that, always gave me a harmonium wherever I was. Really, wherever I was, I gave me a harmonium.
So cool.
And
what you have to do. You cannot run away.
And so while I was studying, then I met my ex-wife, and together we met Guruji.
Oh, so together?
Yeah.
Who introduced you? Who? Or together, literally?
We were living together. We are both yogis. I was hardcore doing Kriya Yoga. She was like a Hatha Yoga teacher, also doing meditation, also doing Kriya Yoga. And like when we met, we were kind of spiritual people. She was actually my guitar student. It's not very ethical.
No, you didn't.
Anyway.
It's good. It was not in it's private lessons.
No, yeah. So For her birthday, I gave her the ticket for for a yoga festival in South Germany, Bavaria.
Mm-hmm.
And in that festival, in the years to come later, I played this festival a couple of times, representing Bhakti Marga.
So nice.
It's a festival called Bhakti Yoga Summer. So I went to that festival. I had a nice lecture of Hare Krishna Swami called Satchidananda Swami, and I also saw a music lesson from Kanjalochana, back then Brahmachari Chaturananda. And then he was there, and there was other Bhakti Marga people there, but I didn't even really register them. But I remember seeing the class of Kanjalochana, now Swami Kanjalochana, and thinking, oh, he's a very sweet guy. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the class, he showed a picture of his guru, and I thought, well, I have a guru. For me, it was Yogananda. Yeah. I have zero interest in his guru. And then he showed a picture of Mahavatar Babaji. I said, oh, they also have Mahavatar Babaji. Interesting. I go talk to the sweet guy. And then it came out, he also loved Yogananda.
Connection, pom-pom, bridge.
And we became like super close friends, and we spent the nights talking about God and crying.
Wow. Yeah. The beauty of bhaktas, bro.
I didn't even know what was to be a bhakta back then. It comes, like nowadays when I analyze Yogananda, he was initiated in Advaitic lineage, but in his teaching, he always put a lot of bhakti into it. And also form worship, because he repeatedly talks about Krishna and Kali. He even like sits in meditation as a teenager, like he says, I'm only gonna stand up when Krishna appears in front of me. With a form. No?
With a form, yeah.
So it's interesting. He was not preaching clear Vedanta to the masses or Sampradaya stuff. That was not his interest. But yeah, when I came to Guruji, so I met Swami Kanjalochana, and then after this meeting, he said, you have to come to visit me now in the ashram. I said, okay, I'm coming for you. And then some weeks later, we came here to Sri Pitani. That was September 2011.
Wow.
I took my little broken Toyota Starlet. You know this guy? I drove 2 hours from Saarbrücken here.
Very good.
We came.
It's good that you arrived. It's good that you reached.
Short later, I got a nice Volvo, and this Volvo survived until some years ago.
Volvo is next level.
Volvos. Good memories. Anyway, I told this story a couple of times. So to resume, my ex-wife, she said, you have to come here on Thursday. And I said, yeah, but the monk who lives there said we should come on Friday, then we can also meet Swami Vishwananda. I said, no, but my intuition says Thursday. And I said, I don't care about your intuition, because the monk who lives there said Friday.
Typical man.
But
don't care about your intuition.
But obviously, you don't win this discussion, this argument.
Yeah, you cannot. Because your intuition is right, bro.
And then it was right.
Of course.
We came one day. I said, okay, we go one day before. The worst case, we sleep there in the hotel of the ashram. And the next day, Swami Vishwananda is supposed to come. So Swami Vishwananda decided to come one day earlier. And then like 10 o'clock of Thursday, after we spent one day walking around and getting to know the ashram and things here and finding things a little bit weird but very sweet, Swami Vishwananda came, and he was coming from a private trip by car. And that was pretty amazing, actually, that first encounter, because I was in the lobby, and because I had some Indian culture already learned, I brought some flowers, and if I meet Swami, I need to have something to give him.
Yeah. Gift.
So I was maybe like 10 meters away from the entrance door, and Guruji appeared in black jeans and black jacket and with
like
open
a proper
hair.
guru. Rockstar.
Like a proper metal guru. Like, that's the kind of guy I was following.
Very nice. For you,
and he was so beautiful, no? Like, oh my God, who is like... And I saw him down there. Even though I was far away, I could smell roses. And I didn't, like, my brain could not understand it. Like, I saw him, and this smell of cosmic rose essence just came to me. And nowadays it becomes a pretty typical Guruji's miracle. Like, so many devotees experience that. And then Guruji came towards me, Swami Kanjalochana introduced me, and he literally introduced me to Guruji like this. That is Luis from Brazil, he's a musician, he doesn't eat. Because I actually made the process of prana like 6 months prior to meeting Guruji.
Ah, 6 months before, that's when it started.
Yeah. So...
Because Aaradhaka is not eating.
Nowadays I'm so relaxed, so I don't care about that. If you come here, don't judge me, because you're going to see eating prasad, might have a cappuccino or something like this. Yeah, anyway, I've been doing this since 2011.
He's saving a lot of time, basically. He's saving a lot of time.
So Guruji came, and Grüß Gott. Hello.
Grüß Gott.
He came and he came to us, and he said what? So I'm going to introduce me to him. Guruji, I took the flowers and I said, Swami, we came for your blessings. I was lying. I came to meet my friend, monk, that I met in the festival. But I was definitely attracted to that personality. Yeah. But I didn't come for that. I said, oh, Swami, I came for your blessings. Sweet words.
It's a good way to start.
I gave him the flowers. And then before he took the flowers, he touched my hands. And the moment he touched my hands, his hands were like burning hot. Like much hotter than usual. It kind of burned my hands for a second. And I was a bit shocked, and I looked in his eyes. I don't know if you ever saw that, but Guruji's eyes, he looked like deep inside of me, like darshan. His eyes are like crystal, a bit wet and moving.
I never saw that.
His eyes like moved a little bit, and they were like wet, like differently. Like he's not, looking deep inside of me, like boom. So that was all in 30 seconds. The rose smell, the burning hand, and he looked inside of my soul like this. Then after that, he became normal. And then we just talked. Where are you from? Exactly, Brazil. How long you live here? What do you do? This and that. And we had a nice, sweet first talk. Then we kept coming. After 2-3 months, by December, I got Kriya and Atma Kriya. I was doing Yogananda's Kriya every day for 6 years.
And you felt the difference between the two Kriyas?
The Kriyas are very different, yeah. I cannot tell details because it's for
not the details, but as a practice.
There is many things in common, because they all come from the same source anyway. But the infusion of Bhakti is clearly true. As a gigantic differential.
So you feel it.
You feel it, and it's also you learn the theory, so your brain looks for something else. You're not looking for samadhi, you're looking for that blissful devotion to God,
Beautiful.
And also in Atma Kriya, you literally have much more in the beginning straight away. Like it's much heavier material compared to Yogananda's Kriya. Yogananda, he simplified his Kriya for the American people. For the American people of the 50s.
Yeah, taking in consideration the year it was given, it's really important.
So he took the Kriya from Let Him Shine, Shukdesh, and he simplified. So Guruji kind of, every guru when they give Kriya, they take it from Babaji,
they give it,
and they have their own sheeps. It's not the same. So many gurus give Kriya, they all be different Kriyas because they all have their own people.
And depending on the year, the ages.
What people are open to. What they know already. So that's how I met Guruji, and then I 2-3 months fighting with my inner feelings, reading stuff, and then, but my heart was very clear. So after 3 months, I accepted actually that's my guru. And then, that was the start of the journey physically with Swami Vishwananda. But it became pretty clear that my life was a preparation to meet him, and that's the sole purpose of my life actually. It's service to him. Like everything that I learned throughout my whole life was perfect to be put in service to him. Still I had to learn everything, but the base that was there was a very good base to build things upon. The musical base and the belief or spiritual base,
And it's beautiful how now you ended up being a rishi more than a monk. So you have also, what does this mean for you now? How was this process of being initiated, or what happened?
I mean, I became brahmachari 2015. Jumping a chunk of the history where my ex-wife became pregnant, we got a daughter, and then we lost the daughter when she was 6 months, years.
This is a really impressive story.
Old. You can see the video in SWAMI AHIRUDDHA's video channel.
Very good.
Because,
very good connection. You in what? In Unplugged?
Spirituality Unplugged. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put a link there.
Then you can see, I tell in detail the story, because there's an amazing miracle that Guruji made. She actually passed away on the 6th day, and Guruji gave her to us for 6 months.
Yeah, I remember the story. So that's a really powerful story. We're going to put a link in the description. Swami Aniruddha's channel also.
And then after this phase was gone, and then after she was gone, and then I looked, Guruji gave me the pond looks so beautiful. Show the pond, look at this green, look at this green.
We have this, I don't know, there's a bench there, and we can go there, but I think, I don't know where we can go
there. The water.
But you can go there whenever you want, and you can do a japa there on the bench. It's super nice. I recorded with Sarvadi there.
So, what was I saying?
That the story of you becoming a brahmachari.
So, after my daughter passed away, and then I was close to Guruji, and I was thinking like, what do I do with my life now? I have Guruji in front of me, and he allows me close, so it seems clear that I can have the option of really giving my life to him, with him. And I'm living the dream of my life that I believe it was not possible. So shall I go back to restart everything and purchase material life and career and family? Or actually I already lived all of that. I was 20-something, and I looked back in my life, and the feeling was like, I'm like 25, 6, 7, I don't know. And I already did all of that. I had all these experiences. There was nothing new. I would just start something that I already did. There was nothing new.
Yeah, it made no sense to restart.
There was nothing new. And Guruji made a very beautiful plan for everybody. So he told my ex-wife to go to Vrindavan for a while. To
good healing
refresh,
process.
to healing,
Good healing process.
And then there she got very inspired by Swamini Mohini and the brahmacharis there. And she herself lived as a brahmachari for 2 years, or 3 even. In that meanwhile, I also became brahmachari until 15, and then I became a monk since then. But you ask about the Rishi initiation, what does it mean to me? Even though when you say the story of our lives, it seems so beautiful and miraculous, I did so many mistakes in my life. No? Even after meeting Guruji. So there was a point where it was clear for me that even though Guruji kind of had cosmically planned for me to have this monastic life going further and further, even though some people have the dharma to be brahmacharis the whole life, which is very right.
Yeah.
But he has given me signs that there was more to go in my personal case. But I have done so many mistakes at a certain point that I felt I literally cancelled the doors of grace. Of course, I knew that I still had Guruji as Satguru on my side and gave me teachings and being like super sweet. But many things changed because of stupidity of mine. And so, because of those mistakes, I actually understood a little bit more what is Guruji's unconditional love. Because
he forgave.
There were moments in life I thought the only logical thing for him to do is just to send me to Siberia. No?
Kick him out.
Or just, but what he sees inside of us is not what we see. That's the big difference. He knows what is the essence of everybody. And he doesn't play with our mind. He plays really with our soul, and he has a plan for generations to go. So Guruji is a pretty different being from normal human beings. So when I became a Rishi 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually also I don't like to use this word healing, but it was like a healing for a long process of brahmacharihood, of monkhood, which I could have done much better than I did. So it was Guruji saying like, you are doing your dharma. You know?
It's good.
Keep going. It's like, I love you. The blessing is there, and you can represent me. You can carry
It's
my
a different.
word and my name.
You feel it's a different responsibility now that you became a rishi. It's something that comes.
I go back.
We go up here. Yeah. You think it comes with? Is it a burden, a blessing? How do you perceive it? Because the blessing is truly there, but do you feel it accelerated some process, or?
I mean, for the mind, if you consider everything that we have as these dual beings that we are, everything is a burden and a blessing. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the perspective. Obviously, it's a blessing. On the other hand, it's just a function, because the core of the blessing, Guruji's grace, I'm pretty sure,
It's for everybody.
is given to every devotee.
Yeah. Doesn't matter the color and what you do.
If you love Guruji, even if you're not initiated, but if you love Guruji sincerely, he will give you Krishna.
Yeah.
He will give you Narayana. You're gonna have the vision of the Lord when you leave this body, at least, latest. And you're gonna go to Vaikuntha, or to higher realms, and you're gonna be taken care like saints have been taken care. I have such a conviction about that. So that's why there is grace there, but it's above all is a function, which is a beautiful function, you know. And the burden is if the mind struggles with the expectations that exist towards that function. Like if you feel challenged by the expectations that the people have, an organization have towards you.
Because this is the perception. I'm talking about perception. People, when they see colors, when they come to the ashram, they see like a scale. You know, you see the yellow, you see the red, you see the orange, and you think, so this is like a goal, like something that we need to achieve in order to be more spiritual or something like that.
Obviously, not everybody dharma.
Yeah.
Without people like you who are like really good, dedicated devotees. And at the same time living family life, just like Lahiri Mahashaya did, just like Bhakti Thakur did, just like Tukaram did. How can the organization exist?
Exactly.
You need both.
Should be everybody in the ashram.
Yeah,
build,
you need both.
Buy the whole town, and we all become monks and brahmacharis, and
then what?
Nothing happens.
Then you cannot pay the water bill.
Yeah. And like you raising, for me, it's really beautiful now to see Radha, our small daughter, growing up with this, you know. So it's such an amazing blessing, and I'm looking at her and I see, man, I met Guruji when I was like...
Those souls, they've been chosen by the Lord.
Of course.
They are handpicked. I mean, it's not that she's lucky to have Guruji because you guys are so nice. She actually chose you as an instrument to be close to Guruji.
And you become
Guruji literally,
that servant, you know? You serve the mission, you serve God in this way by taking care of his devotees, basically.
Yeah. That's what we talked yesterday, you know?
Super important.
Yeah, life is very mysterious, but yesterday I gave satsang on Divya Prabandham, and the verse from Nam Alvar, from Tiruvayamoli, second verse from the second decade, I think, in the beginning of the Tiruvayamoli. It says, don't stress about the service you do, just do what you can do. And if you do what you can do, you please the Lord. And that's also Gita, no? 926, 927. It's how you do your service that matters. And the problem with spirituality and bhakti and japam, nam, kirtan, is that it's just too simple, you know? And we don't take it serious.
You feel it needs to be something complicated.
Yeah.
cosmic practice of esoteric knowledge that only few can access.
You need to sit upside down, you have to draw a geometric form, and you need to breathe
Connect
like this.
with the aliens and with the crystals and pyramids.
But he is in his name 100% and stronger than any of those things. But it requires a certain inner attitude that unlocks a spiritual realm. But his name is there. His name, nothing is stronger than his name.
And what is music now? Talking about his name, how is singing the name of the Lord in kirtan compared to the previous musical career? How is it for you now, this experience? Because this is your dharma, basically. You are head of music, you're coordinating all the music in Bhakti Marga, and it evolved probably, no?
But when I was traveling a country and I was introduced in an event, they said, "Oh, that's Rishi Aaradhakaananda. He's the head of music in the world." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I think I called the Pope and say, "Pope, that choir in the Vatican is singing wrong." Bhakti Marga is a big organization, but not that big.
It's good, head of the music in the world. Very good.
I called Dudamel, you know, the
In our world, of Bhakti Marga, you're the Maharaj, okay? How is it? How did this role came upon you? What was the...
How this role came upon me? It's a good, nice story, because when I came to Bhakti Marga, a devotee called Dharmananda, Brahmachari Dharmananda had this role. And I came and I was not that close to him in the beginning. I was living in the village after a certain point. I was coming to the events, helping a little bit here and there. But I was really only on the side. You see, if you look at the videos from Bhakti Marga videos from 2011, 2013, you're going to see me mostly sitting in the corner of the music, on the edge of the music corner, playing guitar, sometimes singing a little bit. So I was helping out when there was concerts. I was helping like with the arrangements a little bit. And I was not good at singing at all. I was singing Brazilian music, but
you're not
everything
good at singing like with the voice.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really
it
not.
It doesn't.
I used to sing a little bit Brazilian music, and I had music classes. But to really sing and open up and do bhajas and kirtans and make the right inflections, let's say, and pronounce things correctly.
You're like, oh.
It was. I tell you, it was a long way to go.
So it was hard work to do
sing.
that. It was not something that
it was hard work, and yeah, it was.
This is surprising, bro.
Yes. Because I always identified myself as a musician, not as a singer. I was singing to make easy money in certain events.
Yes.
Because then I'm just one person, not two or three, you know?
Yeah. Good point.
So, and then I was doing seva in all the events and participated in music, and Guruji, of course, always knows things in advance. He was pushing me into the music, even though I could not understand why he's pushing me so much, because I could not do what people do there.
Kirtan was good.
My teachers here, apart from Guruji, I see as my teachers in Bhakti Marga, Mayuran Shahs Bhavani Firuza, like from them, like these first years.
Okay.
Like, I just like literally, I would sit there and just observe everything how they do.
Okay.
And sometimes they would be strict. They would say, "No, you don't sing now. Get out of here. You know, like play your guitar there in the back. Or can you play keyboard for my song, please? That's it. Then you are free."
Wow.
And I was learning everything from them, how they do it.
Wow.
And, so they were actually my teachers back then.
Wow, so nice.
In Kanjalochana also, like, because I straight away helped with the making of the first Atma book, 2013, 12-13. And then Dharmananda, who was the music coordinator for Bhakti Marga internationally, who was also a musician in the orchestra in Bonn, in a Brahmachari, a horn player, French horn. He got cancer. He had a very beautiful passing, actually, but he accepted it gracefully, and Guruji gave him beautiful experience. Everybody, you can search online, you can see how Guruji gave him a cosmic vision and came to his place hours before he actually passed away in his room, even though he lived many hours away. So it was very interesting phenomenon. Anyway, I got close to Dharmananda only when he got sick, because I used to live in the village, and he used to come down to the village to rest. in the house I rented.
Yeah, because
used
he
to rent-
needed, yeah.
Because here, yeah, it was easier. He would go down, make his medicine, and lay down and stay there a little bit, you know. And that's when we became actually closer, just before, some months before he passed. And so I could help him and serve him a little bit and learn from him and have the association with him. I used to live in Bhagamata's house, in the top floor.
Okay.
And I have one room down also. Down was my music office, up we had the rooms to live. In the village of Springen, Heidenroth, Germany. And so when he passed, Guruji chose me as a next music coordinator for Bhakti Marga, and I remember in the parking lot of
The ashram,
and Swami Kuru came to me and said, like, would you like to be, like, we talked to Guruji and stuff, when I take this position as the next music coordinator for SPN, not for SPN back then, for internationally. SPN back then had Swami Kanjalochana until he changed seva, and then eventually I was doing both. But nowadays, SPN I mostly delegate to the other musicians from the core team, unless the big events. So that's how I became. And then Bhakti Marga was also changing a lot, so I had to.
It was growing.
I had to do new things, you know, to actually officialize Mridanga course, Mridanga teaching, which was something that didn't exist, you know. Push more to the Indian tradition, our sound.
Yeah, because back in the days it was a lot of also
More guitar,
and also the bhajans were infused also with Christian elements somehow.
Yeah, it was a bit more open for the new people things. And then Guruji also started to change how he wants. He was like, let's make it more clear. No, we are actually Vaishnavas, no, not so much mix and.
Europe, but
so I literally had to start installing, clarifying music coordinators for each country. Nowadays we have like close to 50 music coordinators.
Wow!
In the countries and the growing, like the base, like the Manjira course. What is the base of Mridanga, Harmonium, Manjira, and so the whole music culture we have to like establish.
And also the sound has changed a lot, and the quality of the albums released by Bhakti Marga is like top notch.
Yeah.
Are they produced all entirely in the ashram?
No, there's different. Many are produced in the ashram, many are produced half in the ashram, half outside. Some are produced outside and then released.
Depending on the collaboration.
It depends on the collaboration and the context. Yeah.
But the quality is there. It's high standard.
We try.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I mean, even though we worked so hard with the albums for many years, the recording albums is something Bhakti Marga started like much before me.
You can still
2008, 9, 10, you know. But was the idea of the Kirtan sessions was let's say the revolution of Bhakti Marga music and for Bhakti Marga in general, because through Kirtan sessions so many millions of people got to know Guruji and Bhakti Marga all over the world. We travel any country, people know us. Any country, anywhere.
That's why the Bhakti Marga channel, the YouTube channel split, and we have Bhakti Marga music, because it's so popular, the music from Bhakti Marga.
Yes, also because they wanted to respect a bit of the algorithm laws, because like when we put satsangs that are not related to Kirtan in the music channel, the public there, they were not for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they want to make the engagement for both be...
Yeah. To spread it equally. And anyway, it evolved also. Just Love Festival came on top of all of this, no?
Just Love Festival, first one was basically 10 years anniversary of Bhakti Marga. That we didn't call it Just Love Festival, but it was a Kirtan festival. We called it Just Love Festival in 2016.
And you were a coordinator back then?
Yeah. I always coordinated the music. I never coordinated the full festival, but I was always responsible for the music, which is a big chunk of the festival.
That's about the whole festival.
Even in the 10 years anniversary, also it was already like a festival. We had the 10 years anniversary of Bhakti Marga 2015, because officially Bhakti Marga became Bhakti Marga in 2005. So in 2015, we had bands like the singers of the countries with the best musicians making bands and playing throughout the
That
day.
was the beginning.
And in the last day we had, 2 days festival, and then one last night we had Bito Malik from Vrindavan with his brother, Amit Malik, really nice bhajans. And the second day we have Kirtaniyas, Vijay Krishna coming here. They're like big. First time we did something so big. But interesting enough, Guruji, 2 years before, he was already teasing the idea of a music festival. So Guruji, people have to understand that the Kirtan festival in this beautiful ashram that you see there on top of the hill is really Guruji's vision. He always envisioned big Kirtan festivals happening here. We hope that everybody understands and always supports it. Doesn't matter how fine the future we are looking into. Okay? And Guruji was teasing it, and he was seeing how ready we were. So he started teasing it and canceling it, teasing, oh no, we don't manage it. And then until 2015 arrived and said, this year we celebrate 10 years anniversary, so this year we do it.
Let's go.
Yeah, he was like, Guruji is always like this. He prepares us by teasing us and make us start, and make us ready, and then break the plan and start again. And kind of, you go getting ready until it really happens. It's somehow, Guruji uses this methodology pretty often.
And talking about Guruji, how is it to sing with Guruji? What is the... because I think there's a lot of teaching that goes on in those interactions while you...
For me, it's a life lesson, constantly.
What is it? How is it to sing with him, to support him with harmonium, to be his backup? What's the dynamic there? What's the lesson? Lessons.
The job is basically to know what he wants to sing and to understand the interactions in the smallest details. So you have to become intimate with God. You have to understand his moods, has to understand the way he's looking at you, the way he's moving his hands, the way he's holding the microphone, the way he's playing the manjiras, the way he's moving his legs. Everything is giving you a sign.
Of the rhythm, if he needs to change something.
Like if he forgets a phrase, I have to know the phrase and jump in. But if everything is going well, I'm not supposed to jump in together with him. I should leave him singing alone. And then if I know there's a line which is very high for the voice, I support and sing together with him. In case his voice would crack because it's very high, then I give already the safe bed support for him,
So you always have to be focused. You cannot lose your focus.
And the moment I lose the focus, he creates a situation to expose that.
So those are the lessons, basically.
It's amazing. I was telling in Swami Revati's podcast, I could write a book on that, and I hope one day we do it.
I hope you do.
only on music lessons from Guruji, because I had amazing music teachers from highest standards, but actually my main music teacher is Guruji, who has no musical education formally.
Officially.
Formally. But this by far. Like Guruji has a voice range which is so amazing. And you can see how you can translate what kind of a master he is by that, because voice is different from instrument. When you're playing an instrument, you're taking an alien object and adapting to your body. But the voice, you have to unmake the notes and let that natural thing shine. That's the difference between voice and instruments. The voice is always there, but we block it. And Guruji is so relaxed that his range is far from normal. He goes, if you're a musician, from a low male F. Sometimes he sings a low F and E, which is like a pretty bass, like a real bass singer, which not every bass can sing. And he goes, when he's very relaxed, like he sings a high G sharp, like a highest, like 2.5, 3 octaves higher. And he does it with so much ease, which somebody who doesn't study never does.
Let's rest for a second. So he has this, you say he has an unusual range of voice that he is something that he studied, he developed by himself, it changed by time. Do you saw a change in?
No, not that it changed by time. Of course, his singing changed because time passed and he changed. Guruji stays exactly the same and changes at the same time. But what I'm saying is that you can see that Guruji has no normal mind, has no normal fear. And when you're making music with him, it becomes very evident. Yeah. He does it really for the love of Kirtan, for the love of the name of God. And
because the music that when he sings Kirtan, you can feel the love.
I'm going to tell you something. Guruji doesn't want to play the role of a singer, of an artist. And many people look at videos and say, oh, Guruji made a mistake here, sometimes a mistake there, or there's a rhythm mistake, or there's a note in his mind. And what I can tell you is that he really kind of does it on purpose. Because he wants to make a very clear distinction that he's not being an artist or being a singer, trying to sing correctly. He's a guru singing, and he's having a good time. But he's not at all trying to be a singer, at all. And he makes it very clear on the way he sings, the way he approaches music, the way he starts or ends a bhajan. You know? So whenever you see Guruji singing, that's the perspective, that's the point of view. He's a guru or an avatar singing the name of God because of the love of God. He's not a singer. He wants not to be called a singer or an artist. Not.
It's a paradox, yeah, in something that we, in society, I mean, I was an actor.
Yeah.
It's like saying, I am not an actor. I'm not an actor. Although I'm doing the craft, sometimes at the highest level, I'm not an actor. And this is the paradox, this is beautiful teaching. Beautiful teaching.
How could it translate it in the acting world? Maybe if you only enact saint stories and you do it out of bhav, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
And then you distinguish it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also you do it out of bhav and you do it without caring about small technical details.
Because you don't care about people's opinion, you're not doing it for the praise, you're not doing it for the... You're doing it... It's like how children play. They play for the sake of playing.
Yes.
They don't play for the people who are watching them play.
Yeah. It's actually, children playing is a very good... it's a very good example because sometimes artists say, I'm not doing it for the audience, I'm doing it for myself. No, you're also not doing it for yourself.
Bro. That's bullshit. I don't believe anyone.
Exactly.
Whoever tells me that.
It's not only about not believing, it's also not good. Because mainly, like, why you want to disconnect, you know? We are social beings. This connection is what creates a special thing. And when children play, they don't play to impress anyone about the opinion of everyone, but they always want to be together.
Exactly.
They always want that the other children naturally are attracted to that and make that little children playing Sangha stronger. And that's the thing here. Like, it's not about being perfect. It's only about inspiring everybody into bhakti, into love.
And he does that. Basically, all what he wants to bring us together.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
The other day, somebody that I know went to a little Vaishnava temple which is close by here, and the person was giving a satsang in this temple here, not here in Bhakti Marga. Probably the person was a bit triggered by Bhakti Marga for whatever reason, and they said, in the satsang, they extra said, here is not just love, here is pure love. You know, I think this is so stupid. Because if this is just love, it's obviously pure. If there's nothing else, how can it be impure? There's only that. There's nothing else.
Yes. You cannot compare it.
If there's only that, it's pure.
It's like saying the best love.
Yeah.
The highest love.
It's like if you're saying rose essence, you know, it's pure.
Yeah.
There's only rose there, and it's obviously pure.
Just rose. That's it. Very good.
So that's what Guruji is. This in his kirtan practice is just love. It's nothing extra.
A golden moment, bro. Share a golden moment while singing with Guruji, or from just love, or a golden moment while singing kirtan.
There is some mental golden moments and some spiritual golden moments, both equal, like not equally, but both amazing. Like when I say mental golden moments, like the opportunity with Guruji of be traveling so many amazing places and singing.
You're all over the place, bro.
And singing with people that are so amazing. Like for example, I always admired a lot the Sankirtan of Vitaldas Maharaj. He's a acharya from South India. And one day, like after years, I'm just with Guruji sitting in the ashram with Vitaldas Maharaj, and we are together doing kirtan. And there was somebody who was such a good singer, you know? And like we are three together, like Guru, and the whole song of Bhakti Marga, and of his. But this is like this kind of thing is that it shows like, wow, it's interesting how through Guruji's grace, you can be like in those places, you know, and having this kind of association.
Wow.
And that's very hard for me. That's one of the hard education that Guruji gives me, because I cannot deliver Indian music 100% pure Indian because of this. Even though I got some classes and this and that, like you have to be at least grown up there to have this really deep in the brain. There will always be some influence of whatever you learned before.
Like a native speaker of English.
Exactly.
Everybody will hear, even
somewhere. Yes,
they will hear the difference.
Etc. Yeah, and Guruji brings me sometimes to those places, into this big Maharajs. Nobody as great as him, but big important people. Yeah. And then he looks at me, like we are sometimes in the Indian audience, and he looks at me, this Brazilian white guy, and says, "Sing." And this was changed, you know, the first years he was not doing it, and then he was teasing it and destroying me because of mispronunciation or mistakes, and really destroying my ego, like crushing it. And until I was kind of getting ready, and there's so much to go still, so much. But
for life,
still, it's a whole life of growth, but like in the technical sense, in the practical sense. But still, like nowadays, when you go to some places and maybe like in this, like might be Indian TV or whatever, and you say, "Go sing," you know. And this is interesting to see, like, wow, like through His grace, I could get better and gain His trust, and it's such a beautiful thing, you know.
For me, it's. I always thought, and I wanted to ask you also this. You touched upon a little. In Bhakti Marga, we also have people who are, let's say, more exposed. They're more in front because the nature of their dharma. You need to be more in front. You are visible, you are on all channels, you are the face of that, you're the face of that. And I always found it somehow, when I looked from the outside, because I've come from acting, so I know what happens with our mind and with our ego, I always had this question, how is it? Because you're put on a pedestal, you like it or not, people will look up to you, people will come to you, will praise you, will say, "Oh, Maharaj, Aaradhakanda."
Very dangerous.
The bar. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the ego that can come up to you and say, "I'm actually quite good"?
You know, once I was reading a Christian book, the Philokalia. Philokalia. It's
Lives of the Saints.
Life of the Saints, scripture of texts of saints, of Orthodox saints for the first centuries. And then Saint said something really beautiful. He says the devil, but he was talking about temptations and ego, of course. He says, when you win a war, when you beat the devil once, don't put the guard down, because the enemy has only withdrawn his army, and he's going to come back for a stronger battle. So not because when you win one battle, it doesn't mean you won the war. And that's, for me, that's when you talk about the ego, that's it. Like everything is happening, but I have to keep my guards up. I have to keep that awareness there. I cannot forget.
Because people will come and will come. The mission will grow and will grow. The festival will grow.
And once
YouTube views will grow.
We are lucky because pride and ego stinks for Guruji. He stinks.
He doesn't like that.
He cannot, and he.
You cannot
sometimes you don't know in the logical sense why Guruji is shouting at you and angry at you, but because he's doing it. And once he shouted, because of those kind of things. Actually, in Poland, he creates a situation, you know. I'll tell you the story. How Guruji teaches us.
Yes.
We were in Poland. Was an event in the Narasimha temple they had like in Krakow, and we were in the end of the event. Guruji asked us to chant the Gopi Gita.
Okay.
I forgot now the amount of verse. No, sorry, not the Gopi Gita. Sorry. We have to chant the Guru Gita. In the Guru Gita has like 100 and something verses, that version we were doing. And Guruji looked at me and said, you chant 200 and then Yashodhari chants from there on. He told me. So I heard 200. He said till 100. Okay? And then in my brain, I'm waiting for that number, 200. And I'm chanting. The 100th passes, the scripture finishes, and I don't pass the ball to Yashodhari. And he's like, what did I do? This is wrong. And then we leave the event. The temple is in a building. There's a corridor, which is not wide. And the devotees are here. Me and Guruji and walking behind him, like through this corridor of people. And Guruji stops in the middle of these devotees and he shouts at me, are you every day becoming more stupid or what? And it was like a knife in my heart. Like, why is Guruji saying this in front of everybody? That's why he has to hurt me like that. Guruji doesn't love me anymore. He's hurting me, you know.
Victim.
You find all the stupid reasons to cry. And then he let me cook in my victim position for a while. 2 or 3 in the morning, he called me down to the room. He was sleeping. And he said, oh, you're still offended, huh? And I was silent. I didn't say anything.
Very good.
It's like, look, when I shout at you, I'm not shouting at you. I'm shouting at your ego. And that was it.
This is a life hack, bro. This is a life hack.
And then nowadays, sometimes he has to shout at me for something that in the outside makes sense. Sometimes in the outside makes no sense. But everything that I pay attention is what is the trigger inside. And from this training of Guruji, you start to observe that with other people as well. Because that's the thing. You learn at Guruji, but if you don't learn with the other devotees, and then you're still in the kindergarten. When you tell me something that might be uncomfortable for me, I have to stop and, it's triggered me. It's my ego. And then put the guards up. We are kickboxers. Huh?
And how do you fight with the ego? What are your tools?
The moment you observe it, he already becomes smaller. You
have to look at it. Huh?
You don't act with it.
Good point. Good point.
You keep quiet. You don't act because there's something that I learned with Guruji. And some people learn from home. I didn't have this sort of education. I was pretty liberal and nice, and you can always say everything and blah blah blah. But it took me time to understand that when you have no ego, you don't explain yourself.
Very good point.
And you don't try to correct yourself. And you don't care that much if people think that you did something wrong.
Very good point.
So when people come and accuse you, or when Guruji says that you did something that you didn't do eventually, he tested me infinite times on that. And he always, even after some point, he said, your problem is that you always answer. Your problem is that you always try to correct yourself. Until the moment that I started to, when it comes, I recognize it quick enough to stop the impulse. So that's the thing. You have to observe and train until the awareness is so fast that you stop the action before the impulse makes you act.
Yeah, makes you
before the samskara makes you act.
Yeah,
before the ego makes you act.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that's all. I mean, that's not all, but that's...
Yeah, but that's the first layer. It's mandatory, yeah.
Yeah, and
Very good.
And then it becomes much smaller. When you look at it in the eyes and you don't act, you can laugh at it. It's look at this stupid ego.
Because if you make fun of it, making fun of oneself, this is my weapon somehow, is to make fun of myself.
Look, when Anamach...
destroy the reputation.
Yes. A Vaishnava don't care about his own reputation, about his own honor. A Vaishnava don't care at all what anybody thinks about him.
Very good point.
Vaishnava defends his guru, but doesn't defend himself.
Very good point.
When Annamacharya was wrongly accused in Tirupati, he didn't explain himself. He went to jail. Narasimha himself Venkatesha himself did a miracle and freed him. When Christ was being falsely accused, what did he say?
Nothing. But this
I don't explain myself.
When
they were accusing Krishna of stealing the Kaustubha jewel, he also played the role. He was not explaining himself. So every time we think we have to explain ourselves, we are already wrong. Wow. Every time you feel offended, you are already wrong. Even if the outside logic, in the outside analysis of things, you are correct. In the outside analysis of things, you have the right. The moment you feel offended, the moment you feel you have to correct yourself, you are already lost. You are already wrong. From the spiritual point of view, that's the
perfect. It's so true, and in a really beautiful way, it connects with the idea of music, because in music you are bound to listen.
Yes.
If you don't listen, then you cannot play with the others.
That's a practice for life as well.
That's
also listen to the guru. When you sing with him, you learn to listen to him.
The art
of
listening.
Aspects. Yeah.
And that helps you also.
Yes.
You just breathe 2-3 times before acting whatsoever,
Yeah. In music, we learn that there is layers of perception. And then this is a lesson also for life. Like when a person that didn't learn anything in music listened to a song in radio, statistics, whatever academic statistic that I read somewhere in the past, say that this person perceives 20 to 30% of what is happening.
Okay.
Like you listen to the melody, but you are not aware of what the keyboard is doing, because the keyboard is like middle in the mix. You don't hear. You might hear the high trumpet, but the trombone and the saxophone underneath you don't perceive.
You don't perceive.
The bass you don't perceive at all. Like you don't perceive most of it. And the more education, the more ear you develop, the more you perceive. When an Indian singer is singing and we white people are listening, in the beginning we literally don't hear 80% of the notes. When they do their ornamentation, their gamakas, their alankars, they call, we think they're doing with the voice, but sometimes they're saying 6 notes, 7 notes, 8 notes.
Exactly.
But in the beginning, you come ignorant, you really don't listen. You have no idea what is happening. And after years of educating yourself and expanding your listening, your perception, it's really levels of perception. And then each time you go to a new level of perception, the world you live in changes. But only you change, the world didn't change. But you are perceiving so much more stuff. So that's one of the lessons in music that happens constantly with Guruji as well.
This is the lesson for the spiritual path, like talking about knowledge also.
Yeah.
It will, because this is what Guruji is doing actually when he's giving commentaries. Now he's giving commentary on Guru Gita. He already gave one, but now he's giving another one. It's somehow, like you said, just to deepen the perception.
It's true, because when Guruji first gave the Guru Gita, it was revolutionary for Bhakti. It was the first time that Guruji was actually saying, look, you have to treat the Sadguru like the Supreme, as Bhagavan, as a Supreme Lord. And if this kind of devotion doesn't exist, there's no salvation there. You don't understand. Your soul doesn't reach what it's supposed to. This devotion has to exist. And it was a very new thing back then. And now we are coming into this new Guru Gita commentary with a totally new understanding. And
more verses.
Yeah. More verses, yeah.
I mean, we could.
So
one last thing.
1 hour and 25 minutes, really?
Yeah, bro, but this is nothing. People will watch this and they won't want more. I want more.
You need to ask somebody to do cuts, to do shorts.
Yeah.
You have for sure nice cuts, you know?
That is something that I should invest in.
But it's impossible. That's a saver.
That is, if someone offers to do it, I'm more than willing.
Let's check.
One last thing, because what time is it?
Good, 5:30.
Okay, we still have 10 minutes, 15 minutes before going to prayers. Share an experience with Guruji, something like, in a nutshell, something that you would want to share from all these years spending with him, a life lesson, golden moment with him.
Another one?
Yeah. From your travels, from your...
I mean, I'll say two little things. One, when I was traveling with him in Lanzarote, 2013, Lanzarote. There's not a miracle, it's just a very strong, beautiful lesson. Swami Tulsidas was there and he was doing puja to his deity. He came down with Mandarin prasad. Tangerine, how to say in English? Mandarin or tangerine? He gave a little bit to me, he gave it to Guruji. I took my prasad. Guruji came and from his prasad he broke and gave me. And I said, no Guruji, I already had prasad. For the deity. And then he looked at me. He made a pretty angry face and he said, never say no to anything that the Guru offers, because you don't know what is he giving you at any moment.
Lesson for life.
So if you want to be strong, if you want to actually really profit the way you can from the association with the Guru, learn not to say no to the Guru, to accept whatever he's offering to you.
Because prasad comes in different forms. Yelling at you, ignoring
prasad comes in different forms, and what he is giving, he can give you like, no, he can give you the Vishwarupa in one piece of hair. He will always use something the outside to carry the grace. You know, some little act will be happening the outside. He always uses something.
Because we need that for the mind to recognize it.
Yeah, and that. In that same trip, so there's the other story. In that same trip, there was a cousin of Guruji traveling with us. We were preparing for a yagna, in and out, carrying some stuff, and then I hear some crying on the floor of the kitchen, on the kitchen. Then I run to the kitchen and find this cousin on the floor crying, and Guruji walking out of the kitchen. And I go to the guy and say, "What's going on? Do you need some help?" And he's like. He said it was too hot for me, so I was laying down on the floor and having a nap on the cold floor. And then Guruji came, woke him up with his feet, and the moment he looked at Guruji was blue and had many arms. And he just broke out crying. He didn't know what was going on.
The mind.
And Guruji walked away.
Cannot understand that, bro.
He was not a devotee of Guruji. Wow. And it's sweet how Guruji gives this kind of experience to people who are new and fresh. Even though this guy was a cousin of Guruji, he was not close to Guruji. And we devotees who would expect this, he doesn't give it so easy.
Dreaming, bro, for this.
But I see the guy who just saw it crying his eyes out with so much sincerity. And you feel the love coming from it. And then you see Guruji's playing and walking around with a little smile, cheeky smile in his face. The same when in the Kumbh Mela 13, when we were in the room and Guruji gave Swami Parantapa the vision of baby Krishna. I was sitting on the floor reading for Guruji the life of Aaradhakananda. from the book, From the Life of Love. And Guruji was literally, he was in Samadhi. He was like laying down, like in bliss, listening, while Thakur and Chida, Swami Chida, pressed Guruji's legs. And Guruji, from his Samadhi state, listening to the story of the saint, he points to the bed. And then nobody sees anything. Then he takes one Spantapa head, puts close to his face, and points again to the bed. And even Swami Ahiruddha was sitting on that bed. And then he points to the bed, and Pantapa starts to cry. But he's crying like it's a desperation. It's a crying that he losing his mind. And we ask, what's going on? And Guruji said, oh, you cannot see, Krishna is there. And in Pantapa, I saw a man having the darshan of Krishna, crying his eyes out and literally banging his head on the floor. Like it's something that you read in books, like you read this ancient Vaishnava texts, you see how they have this blissful experiences where they sweat blood and they bang their head on the floor and crying when they have the vision of the Lord. And it's
so intense, yeah.
And you cannot understand because it's something so far from our life experiences. But I literally, you could see something. Then later Guruji, by Guruji's grace, I did have some sort of experiences also in certain visions. But I don't want to talk about those. But in that moment that Swami Parantapa saw Krishna and was banging his head on the floor, the energy on the air on that room was like you could touch the air. It's indescribable. Yeah. So these are golden moments. Guruji can make anything possible, and
he can give you God, the experience of God.
And once we were doing some debates in Guruji's bungalow, in Guruji's house, and Guruji, like for fun, like split, like you are the Vaishnava group, and the other you be like the devil's advocate. You be the like the other side, try to convince. And then somebody made some comment, and I laughed at the person. Said, you're not a Vaishnava, as a joke. Guruji became so serious, and he looked at me and said, never even joke with that, never even say that. You don't understand the grace, the merit that it is to be a Vaishnava. Don't even play with this, like that a friend of ours is eventually a Vaishnava. So above all, we should be really thankful to Guruji that he made us Vaishnavas, like devotees of the Lord, and that he can give us a little glimpse of who he is. And if we hold his hands, everything is possible. Do you agree with me?
Totally agree, boy. I have no words to say. I'm just grateful for your time. Thank you for sharing this. It was such a beautiful conversation, and for me, it's an opportunity to spend time with people that we don't have time to spend.
Usually, yeah.
We don't, because
we never do this conversation otherwise.
No. People will come, seva, we have to do that. We have 10 minutes maximum in the hallway during lunchtime or stuff like that. So I'm super grateful for sharing your free time with us, and hopefully this will inspire other people to pursue their spiritual path. We're going to put some links in the description with the mission, also with your story from Swami Aniruddha's podcast, also Swami Revati's podcast, because that's a really nice perspective you're sharing there. It will make a full picture with these 3 conversations for everybody who wants to know Aaradhaka Maharaj better. So, blessings to everybody. Thank you for staying this long, and stay grounded. Walk straight.
Stay grounded. Walk straight.
Blessings. Thank you, bro. Jai Gurudev.